All right, so today we're going to dive into building a Grok chat application. We're going to give you some real life sample code using the Semantic Kernel using C#. So if you're wanting to build using Grok's X.AI with the new Grok 3 API, I'm going to show you how to do it today and give you some sample code totally for free that you can download and start to use to start to build real AI applications using Grok, using C# with the Semantic Kernel. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build it. We're going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons here before we dive in, but let's dive into this today and let's get you started. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer Thompson. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right. So Microsoft Semantic Kernel makes .NET development super easy to be able to integrate AI into. It abstracts away the complexity of working with different AI services and lets you swap out models without even rewriting your entire code base. So the framework handles everything from context management to prompt engineering. And I've seen a lot of people waste a lot of time with raw API calls and everything where the Semantic Kernel can handle it for you. So what I love most is how it manages chat history and context for you, something that usually can take a lot of code. So let's dive into this approach today. Now, X.AI just released their Grok 3 API, and Grok 3 has been making waves, right? It's super awesome. Anytime I'm using it for use a chat for something, I'm diving into Grok. I really like Grok and Claude. Those are my two go-tos here. So Grok's streaming capabilities provide an instant feedback that users expect. It's really fast, and we're showing you this whole thing with under 100 lines of code. So I've structured the code out here for you to make it super easy. You can download it and use it for real. I'm giving it to you totally for free. So the streaming implementation gives user immediate feedback as AI generates a response and then gives it back, right? So while I'm going to show you a little simple chat application, you can take this and start to build out AI applications, right? AI agents, and dive into this. So let me get switched over here to my my monitor here, and we can start diving into this code. So you can see here, and so again, if you haven't gone and downloaded the code, definitely go out here. I'm going to put the link down below in the description. And as always, make sure you leave a comment to say hi, because that's the best compliment that I can get is when you guys leave me comments down below, right? So leave me a comment. I answer them all personally. But we've got an explanation here of the entire application, right? And so real-time streaming of AI responses integrates with X.AI. It's built on .NET 8. Super simple, easy to use. And so you can see you can configure this in the API key. So you could use Grok 1, which is the default here, but what we want to really look at today is, so these are the different current models and pricing for Grok. So if I also leave the link for this down below, because it takes a minute to kind of find where to do this. And once you get this configured here, the one we're going to use today, if you want to do some really deep thinking, you want to use Grok 3 Beta, which is their largest one, but it's also the most expensive. Or you could use Grok 3 Fast Beta. I'm going to use the mini beta partly because I'm cheap. And so here at Startup Hack, I love to train software developers. So I've given you tons of free code samples, free development tutorials, and even have a great playlist about how to build your own DIY AI PC. So if you want to get an AI server running for cheap, we do it for less than $500. I give you all the components and parts that I used. So you could definitely use some of this with that, or you could spin this up in minutes just using Grok here, right? Pretty inexpensive for their input and output. Grok is pretty cheap as far as APIs go. So this Grok Mini Beta is super, super cheap, okay? So one of the cheapest ones out here builds it right in here, and you can build this and run. So here's all the information that you'll need as well as some of that. But we're going to dive into the code today because that's what I want to work with you guys on. So first thing you're going to do is, if you're going to change which model you want to use, you want to go into the app settings and change it here. I'm going to pause this for a quick minute and put my key back in, because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to show you all my key. All right, we got our key on board, and now we are off and cruising. So first of all, we're going to pick up our configuration out of the app settings. We're going to, take the kernel and do the create builder. Add in the stuff that we need here. We're going to do the iChat complete services, right? This is part of that semantic framework, right? So after we have the chat service, we're going to make sure we keep the history of it so we can leverage against that history. This is one of the awesome things because you can actually build against your own history and save this into a database. You can do different things with it, write against this. Allows you to save and restore some of that context window without expensively having to put that into Grok every single time. So we're going to do some simple stuff here. you know, this loops while true, right? Lets you type, you know, what you're going to type, reads it in, and then gives it the response from Grok. So really the magic here is in our service here, right? So we've got our X.AI chat completion service. So what we're going to do is we're going to inject this. We're going to get the configuration keys is where we're loading up the model. And then we're going to start using you can see with the semantic kernel, this makes it super easy, right? We get the streaming message. We pass in chat history. So this what allows us to always give that chat formatted history. So this way, if you stop your application or if you're building an agent and you want to be able to keep the context of previous history, you're able to actually save that into a database, restore it, and feed it back in again. So this is super powerful. This is where agents become really, really powerful. And Grok has a huge context window. So you can pass in a lot of information into Grok as you're doing that. And then it's going to use this history and you can see makes these calls here, right? And just appends that response on to continue to stream that while it loops over each of these and returns then the chat response message, right? Then this is where it gets this, so this is calling, you know, down to here. This is where it actually breaks down and uses the model that we're going to send to it. Let's go ahead and step through and I'll show you guys here because nothing shows real life use case and shows you that this works like kicking off a good old code sample here. So we're going to fire this guy up and I want you to see how fast this is, right? So I'm going to say, why is the sky blue, right? Our default that we always got to ask, right? Now, this comes back really quick. See how quick that was? Super, super fast. You're getting the power of all of those machines that Elon Musk put together for you here, right? Now, where we want to put this here is let's go and put our response. Let's go put a breakpoint in here and see what this response looks like. Now, what I want to do is I want to even show you that using Grok, I can say, whoops, see now I broke it. Yep, so it looks like we broke it here. Nothing like a demo if you're not breaking something, right? So now with this here, I'm going to say, give me a recipe for chicken enchiladas. Man, I can't type. In JSON format. Okay. So the best part about this now is when it comes back. So we can see what we're doing here is we've passed in our chat history, which in this case, I didn't keep any of the chat history. So it is seeing the second one because we've run this one twice while we're in context, right? So it's keeping this alive here and seeing that chat window and storing that. So we can continue to store more and more of those as we go on. You could be pulling, you know, this chat history is just getting created each time, right? But we could actually be saving this and pulling it out of a database. So when we're passing in that new chat history, right, this history here, you could just as easily pull this out of a database instead of, you know, you can see I'm just adding it as a part of the user message here. So you could definitely get that chat history where you see I'm just, you know, right, and this is the message, you're a helpful assistant, right? So we can actually add more and more to this if we want to build bigger prompts and if we want to pull out previous conversations. So now I step through this, you know, it serializes my request, right? We can see in here, I'm not going to show that because that's going to have my key in it. And we're going to fire this thing through, let it come back. You can see how quick that came back. Man, that was fast. And then it's going to stream the resulting stream back, right? So it's going to read to the end of the reader, and I'm just going to let this fly here. Now, the best part is you can see that it gave back this format in a JSON format. This allows me to then, and I can actually even pass into it and say, hey, I want it in this format, and you can actually give it a C# or JSON structure that it's going to then return the output in so you can then parse this out and use it in your programs. And as you bring this back, you'll be able to see that that response will return in the response that comes out each time, and you can break down that response then, and you can see where I'm deserializing this and using this, and then this returns the context and puts it all into the context and returns that context, right? So then this becomes the message that comes back in that context. So you can see how powerful this will become and how amazing this will be as you guys start to get really creative with this. I think there's a ton you can do with this. Put it into an agent, start to build out tons of different use cases. Again, be able to store both the request and the response. As you do that, you'll be able to not only build not just a cheap party trick, but now think you're trying to process PDF files, or you're trying to do processing against two different data sets and have the LLM do the matching for you on these data sets. There's thousands and thousands of different use cases that you guys can use for this. And I'm pretty excited for you guys because I think with this code and with this in hand, and make sure that you leave a comment here for us because that's one of the big help for us. Now, one of the amazing things is that multimodal in this project isn't just for show. The architecture is designed to work with multiple AI models. You could easily expand this to support model switching between type of questions compared to response. So let's say you want to generate an image over here and you want to work with a standard chat message over here. You can do that and build out complex reasoning here. So now, what are you guys using it for? I'm curious to hear what you guys are using this for. As with everything here at Startup Pack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out if there's something we can help. Hit us up at startuppack.com/Spencer. And if you're interested in learning more about software and about extending your AI capabilities, check out our coding boot camps here.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Pack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Pack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Startup Pack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Startup Pack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Startup Pack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Startup Pack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Startup Pack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuppack.com to code your